Hello, I'm Robert Donovan, and this is Tradecraft eLearning Solutions. Welcome back to our full-on First Linux course. We have just gotten Fedora 13 installed, and we have completed the first boot tasks. The next step is to complete, if you will, a little bit of administrative housekeeping specific to this course. For this course, we're going to be using a lot of tools and a lot of applications more frequently than others during the exercises and activities that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to take this as a teachable moment to show you how to customize the desktop the way I kind of like it. You don't have to do it this way. I'm just going to use, this is just how you activate and access all the desktop customization features. You can set it up any way you like. You won't hurt my feelings. I'm just going to show you the way I like to do it to show you how to use the tools. First off, let's talk about these panels. In Windows, they call them taskbars. But in Linux they call these panels, and as you can see by default you got one on the top and you've got one down here on the bottom. Well, I don't happen to like that. I like them both stacked on the bottom myself, and so the way to do that and make it happen is to right click on any blank area of the panel and click Properties and change the orientation of this one. I'm going to change it from top to bottom, and you'll see what happens there. It goes right down there. Now the other thing that you may not see showing is these hide buttons. These little buttons with the arrows on them. Auto hide is the other option for hiding the panel. I don't like auto hide so much as show hide buttons. The show hide buttons gives me a little more control, and it does pretty much the same thing. So I like the show hide buttons, and I have previously put them on both panels, as you can see, but that's how you get them. They're in the properties for the panel. You can also set a background on the panel, but I normally don't. I just use the system theme, which is the default. So go ahead and click Close there. Now we got the panels on the bottom, both of them on the bottom of the screen. So let's take a look at what's on these panels themselves for a moment. The first thing, if you take these two little squares over on the right, you'll see it says Workspace 1 and Workspace 2. Notice that whenever you hold your mouse over any icon on the panel, a little description pops up, tells you what that icon is or does. Well, in the case of this workspace setup here, this is called a Workspace Switcher. Now, what is a workspace? Well, in Windows, your workspace and your desktop are one and the same. In Linux, a single desktop can have multiple workspaces, so they call the desktop the sum of all your workspaces. So the reason that that's useful is if you click on, let's say I want to open my home folder here, and I open it up, and I want to open something else up, but I don't want to clutter up this desktop with a bunch of open windows. Well, I can go to another workspace, and let's say I want to open something else, like my web browser, for instance. These are just examples here. No particular reason I'd be doing these on different workspaces, but I could. And that is now I have the two workspaces, and each one has a separate application running in it, and I can access them separately and move things around between them and all of that. So it's a very convenient way to keep your desktop uncluttered by splitting it into multiple desktops. And you do not have to stop at two. If I right-click the Workspace Switcher and go to Preferences, I can increase the number of workspaces that I want to put on there. I think you can have up to 36 of them, and I'm not going to go quite that high. I'm just going to take it back down to 4 to show you something else. You can also put them in multiple rows, like that. Now, putting them in multiple rows and all of this, the more workspaces you have, the plain fact is the more resources you're using. So I tend to stick with the defaults there unless I know I need more. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Click Close, go back to workspace number 1, close my home folder, and that's the Workspace Switcher. So you can have multiple workspaces in Linux. And oh yeah, these hide buttons here, before I get too far along, the way they hide the panel is you click them like this, they slide it back and forth like that. So that's how those work. They slide them in like this, they slide out like that, and notice if you slide the top one out first, it goes to the bottom, and that's pretty much how that works. And you can do anything you want with these. Let's go ahead and put them back the way they were. Actually, I had them the way they were before. My mistake. There you go. Now, the other thing you can do with these panels is you can add icons to them. And we're going to be using some tools rather frequently in this course, so I'm going to put some icons on the panel to make them a little quicker to access. Again, personal preference. If you know where they are in the menus, you can get them, but if you find you use them a lot, you don't want to keep clicking through menus. One thing I don't use very much is this Evolution Groupware suite. I probably should use it more, but I don't. So I'm going to remove it. You just right-click on the icon, click Remove, and you're done. I'm also going to move this one. I'm going to right-click on this notepad, and I'm going to move it to all the way over there. Now these sub-panels here, they're kind of like the Workspace Switcher. This one here, these 2 rows of vertical dots, if you right-click on those vertical dots, you'll notice that it's locked to the panel and you can't move it. It's grayed out. Well, if you unlock it from the panel and then right-click those vertical dots again, you can move this thing around like so. And the same is true of all these other ones. You got to unlock them, but you can move them around too. Once you've got it moved where you want it, I advise on these you lock them back onto the panel. So there you have that. For the different sub-panels, you can move them around as well. Now, over here you have Applications, Places, and System. The Applications menu is the equivalent to the Start menu in Windows. The Places menu is just a quick how to get to various folders, sort of like going to My Computer real fast or to Documents and Settings. It's just a way of getting to commonly used folders in your home folder. You can open up the home folder, see the same information, same stuff that is in here is these folders here. So just a quick way of getting to them on the panel. And the System menu this is where your system administration and your display preferences and appearance, all your backgrounds and monitor resolution and screensaver and power management settings, all that good stuff happens in preferences. Administration is when you're actually changing the settings on a lot of your system stuff, like the date and time and your network settings, all that good stuff. Documentation, release notes, and then down here you have the logout and shutdown. So if you click logout, it'll log you out. If you click shutdown, you'll get the little shutdown dialog box. So if I click on Applications, one of the tools we're going to be using a lot is the terminal. So if you click on Applications, go to System Tools, right-click on Terminal, and click Add this launcher to panel, you'll notice that it shows up right there. Now if you go to Applications again, go to Accessories, and I like to have a text editor handy, so I'm going to add that one. And under Graphics, we're going to be looking at the GNU Image Manipulation program, so I'm going to add that one to the panel. We're also going to be looking at a desktop publishing program called Scribus, so I'm going to add that to the panel. And let's go down to Office here. There's the Evolution Mail and Calendar client, by the way, or calendar software, which we just removed from the panel. It's normally under Office, so you can get to it. And we're going to add all the Office applications. This is OpenOffice, soon to be replaced, I think, by LibreOffice. There you go, adding those to the panel. And you'll see there right there. And last but not least, we're going to open up Sound and Video. And you'll notice that K3B doesn't have an icon. Well, I'm going to right-click and add it to the panel anyway. Most of the reason I'm doing this, we're going to be doing a lot of CD burning at this point. Most of the CD burns we did to create the disks that got Linux onto the system already. But I want to show you how you can customize an icon on the panel with this. Once this thing is on the panel, if you right-click it and click Properties, it opens up the launcher, which is the name in Linux for a shortcut, or an icon is called a launcher in Linux. You'll see there's a button here with a little platform and a spring on it. If you click on that button, that's actually a clickable thing. The theme, the icon theme that is the default icon theme in Fedora is called Oxygen. And that's what all these folders are. They're names of themes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Oxygen. And all of these icons look like they're somewhere around 64 pixels by 64 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and open up that. K3B is an application, so I'm going to open up Apps. And over here you'll see what the icons look like in the preview pane. And if we scroll down far enough, there you go, K3B. So let's open that up. Notice we now have an icon here and an icon there. So go ahead and close. Excuse me, go ahead and close. And that takes care of your panels and icons. And these, like all the others, once they're on there, can be moved. And the sharp-eyed viewers among you will have noticed that you could also have put these onto the desktop, like so. And you could have done that with all of these. I'm not going to do it with all of them. The advantage to putting the stuff on the desktop is that you can see the name at a glance, and you don't have to waste time holding your mouse pointer over the various icons to figure out what they do. But the disadvantage is, if you can call it that, you have to double click anything on the desktop to open it. Anything on the panels you can open with a single click. So it's a little bit faster to open. There's an example with the terminal window, and I got to double click it to open it on the desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off the desktop. I prefer the panel instead of having these on the desktop. It makes things a little less cluttered looking. So that's how I do that. The last thing you can do as far as customizing your panel, if you right click any blank area of the panel, and instead of going to properties, go to add to panel, like that. All right. This, you can create a whole slew of stuff in here. A lot of it, though, I never use. It would, if you put all of this, were to put all of this on your panels, it would really clutter them up, something terrible. There is one that I do find kind of useful, though, that I must say, and that is the, getting close to it here, Shutdown Button. So we're going to click that one, click Add, and then click Close. And I'm going to right click that, going to move it, put it all the way over here by the trash icon. That takes care of, and now I don't have to do the system shutdown. I can just do shutdown. So I save myself a click. Or I could restart or hibernate, any of those, but it's just I can get this to this dialog box now with one click instead of two. And I kind of like that. So explore the add to panel stuff on your own. This add to panel, all these applets here, they are just huge. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You can go to gnorm.org and get a lot more. I'm just going to add that one. But that pretty much concludes our basics of how to navigate and customize the Linux desktop. Now, one thing I will show you too is if you want to open up your home folder from the panel, instead you don't want to do places and then go there, you just want to open it up directly, and you don't want to double click like this, well, if you grab the user button right here, if you hold your left mouse, click your left mouse on it and drag it down, you can drag it onto the panel like so, and then you can right click it and move it, and that's as far over as it can go. And so now you can open up your home folder with one click on the panel like so, and that takes care of that. And so that's pretty much it. Those are the basics of how to navigate the Linux desktop. I thank you for watching, and this is Tradecraft eLearning Solutions.